I'm Jeremy Till, and this is Amplify. Steve Liberati is our next guest from Steve's PaleoGoods. Steve strolled into CrossFit Central downtown. He was here with Whole Foods doing a tribal gathering with products and brands that Whole Foods distributes. Steve is a world-class guy, founder of Steve's Clubs, which is a training program that works with inner city kids, helping them get the tools to develop mental strength and physical strength and giving them tools to succeed in life. 15% of Steve's PaleoGoods sold in the marketplace goes to fund Steve's Paleo Clubs that are all around the country. You know, I got to meet Steve really long time ago in the early days of CrossFit when I got introduced to it, and he's just a stand-up guy. His heart is in the right place, and so is no question, you know, buying their products is going to a good cause. Go on and check them out online. Guys, in the first 7 to 10 minutes, we did have a little bit of audio feedback and a little bit of challenges there, but stick through that and just hear Steve's story, and it's going to be well worth it, guys. Thank you all for joining us, and let's get into this one. Well, man, I know this is like a string of crazy coincidences. You walked into the gym yesterday, and it was a pleasure to see you and whatnot. So also brought in Jackson. We got Jackson here with them there. Tell us about what brought you to Austin, and then we kind of start open up your story and hear about all the good stuff you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we came here to Austin, Texas for a Whole Foods tribal gathering, which is right around the corner here from here at the Marriott. So we were one out of 15 vendors that were invited from Whole Foods to come here and spend a few days with the staff and the executives and a lot of the higher team members at Whole Foods. So we were, very fortunate and very honored to come here to be invited to this event. And of course, with traveling, the first thing we do is look for CrossFit gyms, and I'm very familiar with this gym. Just been following you guys over the years, and luckily it was right around the corner. So we definitely had to make it a part of our schedule, and I'm so glad I came here and got the opportunity to spend some time with you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, Steve's Club, all right, so this is something that you started up years ago.
Yeah.
Did you have your CrossFit box before that, then you started Steve's Club? Take us back to the beginning of Steve's Club.
Yeah, so the timeline how it all started, I was an exterminator in North Camden, New Jersey, which is, if anybody's familiar with Camden, it's a very dangerous city. It's one of the poorest and highest crime rates in the country per square mile. Camden's only 10 square miles. Very small city, but it's just, it's a very poor, crime-ridden place. A lot of gangs. It's a tough place to grow up in. So I was an exterminator working for my dad's pest control company.
Now, is that where you grew up?
No, I didn't grow up from there.
Okay.
I grew up about
Gotcha.
20 minutes from there.
Okay.
But I went to school and I got a corporate job and had a suit and tie and kind of, figured out that's not what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
So I had plans on, I wanted to do something kind of entrepreneurial. So I had an opportunity to kind of work in my dad's business. And, I was hoping to, when I started with him, to work in the office and, manage some employees and kind of run some routes. And he laughed. He's like, no, you're going to be working the streets for 2 years. Get to know the business from the ground up.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care what college, what you learned in college and all that. So I started working for him, and I started working in some of these rough neighborhoods. And not knowing any, my first time there, I had a lot of stereotypes and, just kind of thinking that there's a lot of these kids are, punks and thugs and everybody's selling drugs. And, it's just, I didn't know a whole lot about the place. And, I kind of made a lot of assumptions. And then, working for him, I got to meet a lot of kids. And I was really surprised. I guess more so, impressed that a lot of these kids had a great mindset. They were good kids, and a lot of kids I could relate to, kind of, how I grew up playing sports and, just trying to do better, trying to get ahead. And it kind of went against what I thought. So kind of, it just threw me off. And at the time I was doing CrossFit on my own in the garage. I was following .com and, reading the message boards.
What year was this?
This was 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. I started thinking as going in and out of these houses and meeting more kids. I'm like, man, CrossFit would just be the perfect thing for these kids. Not only from a physical standpoint, but it would be a great way to bring kids together and use it as an opportunity for me to kind of talk to them and maybe to get to know them and learn more about them and share some advice. Because it's just like any teenager today. If you just start preaching to them, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. So I used CrossFit to build that bond, to earn their respect, if you will, and just to break that barrier, break the ice. Mm-hmm. So one day I asked the manager at the apartment complex. She was a customer of ours for years. I asked her if I could use some space, and she looked at me like, "For what?" That was her first reaction. Told her what I was looking to do, just kind of get a little fitness class going. She thought I was crazy. She said it probably won't work here, and I would have to think about this. And she came back and told me you could use this space. And I just kind of started talking to a few kids. I invited them over, and we started Steve's Club. At the time, it was just getting a bunch of kids together. I talked to them about the program, what I was looking to do, why it was different, and I got them on board. And we blasted the music, and we just, they just rocked it out. And for them, it was, just from their feedback, it was the best hour of their day. It was just a complete escape, from their life. It removed all their stresses and just kind of allowed them to step out of that environment. And it was magical, looking back. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. And it just grew, and more kids kept coming, and there was a point where I had to have kids wait outside, and I told them I just don't have enough space, and that killed me. I went to it was a good thing. I went to offer to more kids, and we offered different classes, but that's what started it all. That was the first point on the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It started with Steve's Club.
Nice. And so you started that program, and then getting into like the Steve Paleo's, the goods. Tell me about how that idea came about, because they're kind of work together, right?
Yeah. So then about like 10 months later, I put the kids on a nutrition challenge, and I always tried to find an opportunity to talk about eating right and eating clean and avoiding sugar and junk and just trying to eat more unprocessed foods. I didn't get too crazy with nutrition. I know a lot of them don't buy their food, so that's a huge limitation. You could talk to them until they're blue in the face about the best foods to eat, but they're not buying your food. But if they can make better decisions and be more conscious of it, that goes a long way. Even just avoiding some of the sugar foods, the sodas and stuff. So I was always trying to slip that in. So I put on a nutrition challenge, and I think I remember at the time I kind of had goals. I said, whoever loses the most weight, and we had some benchmarks for some workouts to make sure that you're also getting stronger. I would take you to any place you want in South Jersey for lunch. And they were pretty excited about it. They thought it was a great idea. They're like, "Oh, you can take me to a steakhouse? Sure, anywhere you want to go." And so a few weeks into it, they came back and they're like, "Steve, I'm trying to follow, your advice, your nutrition advice. I cut out rice and beans from my diet, and that was a big deal. Eating more vegetables. I'm focusing on lean proteins, but during the day, it's just really hard at school with the school lunches. It's really hard. It's really it's not cool to bring brown bags, and so." My wife and I, we made some jerky at home. I used to, make that for the weekends as we were out and about. So I just put some beef jerky. I made it at home. I cured it overnight, and then, I put it through a dehydrator, and I put it in a little sandwich bag. We had one of those vacuum seal bags at home, and I put some nuts and berries in. I said, at the time I was kind of doing my own PaleoZone type thing. That was really popular in the community, and so I said, it's a nice balance of protein, fat to carbs, and something they could eat during the day. So we put together this little kit. I think at the time the first name we called it was a survival kit. And I would put it in a little basket, and I would offer it to them for free, And of course I slipped in, it's not free. You guys are paying for this. You got to work, if you work hard and you come to the gym and you're committed, I'm more than happy to make these things for you. Mm-hmm. So they loved them. And they kept asking for them, and I'm at home at nighttime, 12 o'clock at night, I'm cutting up meat in my kitchen. There's blood all over the countertop. It was a mess. looking back, I mean, it was pretty funny. But so we did that for a while, and then one day we're like, somebody suggested to put it online. Maybe you could sell a few of these and help cover our expenses. And I was like, I don't know if this thing's gonna work. How do we even get a website? So I teamed up with somebody, and we put together some real cheap website, and we put them up there for sale. And lo and behold, orders started coming in. And then a few weeks later, Chris Spieler did a video on it, and then orders just poured in, and we didn't know what to do. So we said, all right, let's get together, band together. I had everybody help us. We started making them, and it wasn't long before we teamed up with the local university and started kind of learning more about food safety and making it into a food compliant facility. Mm-hmm. So then that thing just kind of took on a life of its own.
So what year was that?
Yeah, so Steve's Club, officially became a nonprofit. I kind of, started forming the kind of groundworks for that in 2007, like late 2006, 2007. And then we started the PaleoKit in 2008. And that was our first product for Steve's PaleoGoods. And then, that really, it became pretty popular fast. At the time, I was, my timing was, I was very lucky in the sense that, we were the first company to market paleo products. So, CrossFit was just in its infancy stages, starting to really blossom and really grow. So we were lucky with our timing.
Mm-hmm. So you went from your kitchen to, getting a bigger group, and then you went to the university. And so, the growth of that, you have no experience in the food product industry.
Zero.
And so when did you, now working for your father, was there a point where you were like, hey, I can't do this anymore, I need to switch over? What was your career path like?
Yeah, so I was continuing to work for him, and luckily he was flexible with the hours. But that allowed me, to keep having a stable paycheck. And, that was critical. And, for anybody out there, any entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start their business, I still recommend and I highly suggest to keep your daytime job. It took a lot of the pressure off, having that stable income as you're following your other ventures on the side and your hobbies and your labors of love and all that good stuff. So I kept that, and as one was growing, I was able to scale back a little, and I kind of told my dad what I was, hopefully what my plan was. My goal was to someday, no longer work for you, and he was cool with it. He was very, very supportive, and then that's kind of how it went. Like the food business started to grow. I started spending more time at Steve's Club, and I was asked my dad if I can work 2 hours today, and he would laugh. He's like, really, 2 hours? Because I had the rest of the day lined up. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning I would laugh and I would say everything was just fueled by passion, and it was. And that kind of would just, that's what drove me. I really truly, and even to this day, I really enjoy what I do. And then like anything else, you start becoming more technical, and you start learning different things about the business, and especially with food, selling food to the public. Mm-hmm. So you have to, really, you have to do it right.
Mm-hmm. So you launched a website, you sold it online, and I know over time, during this period, we're kind of in the same realm, in the CrossFit realm. I know that the paleo treats start showing up, here and there, and then the what's the coconut, what's the breakfast one? What is that product?
The coconut, yeah.
You can crack it up, put a little milk on it if you want it, or
the granola.
Granola.
Yeah.
All this stuff. I think there's some. I don't know what it was. We were living off of that. It was like some event we were at, and we had eaten so much of it. We were just like, oh my God, I can't eat this anymore. But it's so you grew it, and kind of where I was going with that was just kind of like the evolution of where you are now.
Yeah.
Because, you're sharing with me a little bit about the business and being here at Whole Foods. Y'all, the distribution is really, we were talking about, You sold it because I see it showing up at events. It's some gyms had it, and now y'all are in Whole Foods.
Yeah.
What other distribution points, and how did that come about?
Sure, yeah. So a lot has happened, of course, from when I first started. A lot has happened in that time. We really, in the beginning, the early days, were really heavily focused on online. That's where it was at. It was easy to reach a lot of people with very limited resources. So we were a very small team. I was, focused on the Steve's Club, so I didn't go in there with a business plan mindset. I didn't have the food experience, and I didn't I didn't go in there and to say I want to make this the next, multi-million-dollar company. That was not my plan. I was really focused on making a good product that I knew that the people buying it would like, and then also it was, a big part of it was a Girl Scout cookie model where that was supporting our club. And the two were working hand in hand. So that social responsibility, that social aspect of the business was just naturally, part of it, weaving in. It wasn't, the whole thing wasn't, put together on a business plan. And somehow, it all it just came together. The two just symbolically feeding off each other. Steve's PaleoGoods, as the food business has grown, has helped Steve's Club grow, create more awareness, and, ultimately build more clubs in different cities. But, going back to, I guess, Steve's PaleoGoods, how that has grown, we were online for a number of years. And then as paleo became more mainstream, as CrossFit was just blowing up and everything was moving towards retail where it was becoming a lot more accessible. So when we were really one of the only games in town online and, life was great. There was, a lot of different brands popping up, a lot of new different products. So the evolution, we were, I guess, not forced, but, we saw the opportunity to bring this product to different markets and to bring it to more people. Mm-hmm. And that's when we started working to get the product into Whole Foods. And that was the start of the whole entire retail landscape. And, today, we are in a lot of different retail stores around the country and independents, small mom and pops, CrossFit gyms. So there's a diversified customer base.
Man, that's so awesome. So going back to Steve Clubs, now you have locations from New Jersey all across the country.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the expansion of that and how that really works. And if I were a listener, I was like, man, I want to get a Steve's Club at my facility. What does all that process look like?
Yeah, so I still run the Steve's Club Camden. I do that. That's part of every day I run classes, and it's a huge part of my life, and it's something that I love to do. So I was doing that for the longest time, and then I teamed up with a girl named Lee, who runs our national program today, and this was, I think, in about 2009. She was a trainer down at CrossFit. Maggie and Jeff, they run a gym down in Fairfax. Mm. Oh man, it almost escaped me. But so CrossFit Fairfax, she found out what we were doing, and I think I met her maybe at a cert. I told her a little about what I was up to, and she just said, I would love to get involved, and she had a lot of consultant experience, and she's like, let me help you, with some of this, and she just volunteered, and she brought a whole different dynamic, really brought a lot of experience, and just really allowed me to, I was just putting my heart and soul into the kids, and she said, there's something bigger here. I think you bring your concept, to a wider scale, and have other people follow a similar model, similar to what the CrossFit model has done. So she started forming this idea of let's start a national program, and of course I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know is this really possible? I was so focused on the local club, but she said, I think there's something there, and so we teamed up with a law firm who at the time offered us some pro bono work and started laying the groundwork and forming this national 501c3. And then, from there, once we had all the documents in place and we had a vision, we put it all out there, put the website, and then other affiliates started, following, asking for more information. And, it started with one club was interested in starting a youth program, and then another one, and, and that's where we're at today.
That's awesome. And you're saying, what's the total number of clubs now?
So we now have 32.
32.
32 clubs.
And there are, what states are you in?
We're in, everywhere from New York to California to Texas.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, Steve's Club National Program is more just a resource. So, we offer the best practices. We offer, the accounting services. We try to take all the non-fun, non-profit stuff, the stuff that's not really fun to do, out of your hands. So that individual can focus on that youth program and really, providing that service that kids, there's so many kids that could desperately benefit from CrossFit that just can't afford it.
So I'm saying I want to start a Steve Clubs here at my downtown location. What is my process? What do I do to get it started?
Yeah, so first, if you'd reach out to us, we would start the conversation. We'd ask a lot what you're looking to do, just to make sure we're aligned correctly. There's a lot of over the years we had a lot of people reach out to us, and it just wasn't really a fit. They wanted to do something that was a little more outside of our mission. We'd help them where we could. But there's some things that didn't align. So, based on what the individual's goals are, what their model is, it's more or less, there's the autonomy to do it, to run it how you like, whether you want to train one kid in a park across the street, whether you have this beautiful facility and you want to kind of have, multiple classes, whether you have a school down the street that you pull kids from. It really depends on, how you want to run it.
Mm-hmm.
So, once that's kind of established, then we offer as much as we can in terms of helping them build this nonprofit. So we're more or less, just assisting with it and not necessarily running it.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so you're telling me a little bit about your summer camp y'all do as well. Can you share a little bit about what happens there?
Yeah. So we have an annual leadership camp. It's held every year in Fort Indian Town Gap in Pennsylvania. So we bring in 20. Last year we had actually 24 kids from all of our local clubs around the country, and we fly them in for a week long. It's a complete immersion into leadership skills, into just so many different skills, public speaking. Obviously, we incorporate the fitness aspect, and we're doing CrossFit where we invite different guests and community leaders from the community. From Chad Vaughn, who last year spent a lot of time with the kids, just working on ollie lifts. We just try to find different leaders in the community to come in and spend a lot of time with them, and it's more like just different workshops that are set up throughout that week.
And so those 24 kids, are they selected, or what's the process of having them come?
Yeah, so they apply. There's an entire application process. And then, we go through it and we invite the kids who we think, kind of are the best fit. It's more like, it's like a college application.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you're sharing some new products that you guys are coming out with, and just kind of tell us about the products that you do have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with the PaleoKit was our first product. It was a mix of beef jerky, nuts, and berries, all vacuum sealed. It looks disgusting from the outside. I'm not going to lie. So it's not really aesthetically pleasing, but it serves a function. It's a functional product. And then from there we had granola. That was our next thing. We tried to stick with the original, with the basic paleo underlying premise of meats, nuts, seeds, fruits, little starch, no sugar. So the granola fell into that, looking for some extra fat source. And then from there, I started working on some bars, just for something more portable. So we have granola bars and then protein bars. And then I came out with a line of salad dressings. Just from going to the store, I found that it was very hard to find a good clean dressing without extra hydrogenated oils, sugars, just a lot of preservatives and a lot of crap in it.
Yeah.
So we worked on a line of dressings. Then, oh man, how much time do you have here? We have a lot of different products. Yeah, my ADD really has taken over the last few years. So I come up with these ideas, and we just run with them. We put them up for sale online, and we let the customer decide if it's a good product or not.
Mm-hmm.
Between nut butters, we have jerky is what we're really noted for. Meat sticks for protein, cracklins. And yeah, so I'm constantly innovating new products. It's another thing that I really enjoy doing.
Oh, that's awesome. So you also have a couple kids, and and your wife. What was the process of like her like watching you go through this journey, being like, "What are you doing?" Like, when did she get involved, and how did all that kind of roll out? If you don't mind sharing just a little bit about that.
No, absolutely not. No, it's an old book. So yeah, from a family standpoint, I'm very, very fortunate to have a very extremely supportive wife, who's been there for me from the very, very beginning. And we have 3 kids. So I have 2 boys and 1 girl. Our oldest son is 7 years old, Dominic, and then we have middle is Gianna, and then the youngest is Leo. So, it's obviously, I'm not going to downplay. It's been, it's quite the, building a family, building businesses. It's, it could be very challenging and stressful. But as a family man yourself, I'm sure you could agree that, there's nothing better. It's all the stresses kind of go away. They're just the rewards just far outweigh the stresses. Mm-hmm. And it's there's nothing like it in the world. But yeah, as for my wife, she's been very supportive, and there's many times where she would just shake her head, just saying, "Man, you're crazy," and I don't know how you do it. But and there's been other times where she said, "You're an idiot. I think that's a bad idea." And sometimes I would take her advice. Other times I would just go bullheaded into it and learn from experience. Yeah, trial and error type thing.
That's awesome. So are you guys, I know you say you had a warehouse and where y'all manufacture, or is that in the same area where you started, or where is that at?
Yeah, so we moved over the years. We started very small and we just grew organically. I was always a big believer in outgrowing the space you're in before moving on, not to have that extra pressure and, to worry, to kind of stress about that big nut each month. So, it has worked out. We have a gym. It's about, our gym and our office is combined. So we have all the offices and the gym behind it. It's a total of about 11,000 square feet. And then directly behind it is our warehouse, where we warehouse product. We do our packaging, and we also make product. And that building is about 15,000 square feet. So it was a perfect setup. They're both 2 standalone buildings right next to each other. And we have, our own little community right there.
Awesome. Is that where you run Steve's Clubs?
So I run Steve's Club out of that. We also have kids that also work at Steve's PaleoGoods that help out in the warehouse. So it gives them a great opportunity to learn, job responsibility, to balance working out, school, work, everything. So it's another aspect of it that I don't really talk about, but it's a big part of bringing everything together.
No doubt.
It's teaching the kids, work ethics.
Yeah.
That's really, what it's all about at the end of the day.
That's powerful. Well, good. I have some set questions I was going to ask you. First one is, what has been your greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge, I would say, so far, I think has been just balancing everything. I'm naturally, I guess, the type that wants to succeed in everything I do. And it kind of I got to the point where I had a lot on my plate. And it really kind of forced me to really focus on, as you and I were talking about, like, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? Do I just want to run around all day with my head cut off? Is that effective? Is that fulfilling? You could do a lot in this world, especially if you're ambitious and you're hungry and you enjoy doing it. But ultimately find that balance, and more is not always better. There is, I think, there's that sweet spot, not only in business and life, where you could find that place where you could breathe, you could, you're not overstressed, and, really you have what you need.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And then what is some of the best advice you've ever gotten?
That's a good question. I would say my dad always stressed just, being careful who you surround yourself with. That's a huge it gives a huge impact on your own personal success. You could do everything right and you could have the best intentions. But if you surround yourself by people that aren't, aligned correctly and don't have the same goals, it could be it's not a good recipe, and it could eventually lead you down a road that you don't want to go.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And then, Favorite book?
Favorite book, I would say, I'm going to kind of try to be a little unorthodox here, and rather than give the typical business book, which I love business books, and I've probably read every one, I would say Ishmael. Ishmael was a very powerful book. It was written by Daniel Quinn, and it just influenced me in a lot of different ways. I think the underlying message was, if it's not working, to try something new. And it's a very strong message of having an impact on, to use your strengths as best as possible to have the greatest impact you can.
Awesome. And then, do you listen to podcasts?
I do.
What's your favorite podcast?
Yours.
That's a good one.
That's the right answer. Honestly, I don't listen to podcasts as much as I like. I have downloaded so many that I just didn't get to. I have a short commute, so my commute's not very long, and then it's just a matter of carving out time throughout the day. Yeah. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. But
good.
That is one of my goals, is to listen to more podcasts, because I find them very valuable.
Good. And then your favorite movie?
This is kind of cheesy. Every guy says this, but I would have to say Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like watching movies more than once, but I can watch Gladiator over and over again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Cool. And what are 3 lessons that you could share with our audience that they could get value from, or 3 learning lessons that you've acquired in your life?
Fitness, just personal, just everything.
Oh, whatever. Anything's on the table. 3 things that whatever you think is very important.
It's a great question. I would say the biggest thing is finding your worth and your happiness. That's a very elusive word, and there's billions of books written on it, and I don't think anybody has the answer, and I don't think there's any secret, but finding what you enjoy doing, finding what makes you happy. I don't think that there's, you could sit and there's so many different things that's different for everyone. And I think ultimately, as a human, I think it's your responsibility is to find that. And, we're here for a short period of time, and, you have to be happy and satisfied and fulfilled and productive. And if you're not, it's not a life worth living.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So that's 1.
Yeah.
2, I would say, get out. Get out of your comfort zone. It's very easy to fall into, this place where everything is comfortable and you feel like everything's on autopilot. But, whenever you get too comfortable, life has a way of throwing a curveball at you. So get out, talk to different people, go to different places that you wouldn't otherwise go, learn different things, read books that are even outside of your business, outside of your industry. Just do different things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number 2. Number 3, I would say, really focus on, this is, again, I guess because I run a food company, I don't feel like I have to say this, but I do think it's critical and important for somebody's overall happiness and wellness and health, is really just focus on eating good. I think that we have gotten so far away from that as a society. And it's so easy. There's just so many options out there between, it's not just French fries now. It's chili fries with sriracha with a dose of this. And there's this awesome place. And it's just so hard. There's so many temptations. And I enjoy food, good food. I love ice cream more than anybody. I'm not going to give that up. And I'm not telling people to go crazy strict. But, really just focus on good, clean food. And I think that really helps bring out, it's like an antidepressant. It makes you feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
And live, a longer life.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is a good plus.
And so if people want to find you, what's your website for your goods and whatnot?
Yeah, so for the food company, for some good paleo snacks, good clean snacks, it's at stevespaleogoods.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then for our nonprofit, for the work we're doing with Steve's Club, and that's stevesclub.org.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you'd like to tell our listeners?
No, I guess on last note, my email address is steve@stevespaleogoods.com. I take great pride in answering all my emails, and I love to have conversations and talk to people. So feel free to shoot me a note, and I'm always looking to meet new people.
Awesome. Right on, brother. I appreciate you coming on today, and it's awesome to get to hear your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the Amplify Podcast. You can find more at theamplifypodcast.com. Our social links to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Join us in conversation. Let us know what you're thinking and how we can best service you guys. We will see you again really soon.